at 5, a panel of lawmakers has recommended big changes in how Indiana law treats people with HIV.
News 8 government reporter Garrett Bergquist explains what could change next year.
Lawmakers say this marks the first time a study committee tasked with reviewing the criminal code has endorsed this sort of action. They say they hope this gives priority to any legislation that gets filed. All 17 members of the Criminal Code Study Committee voted to recommend repealing most of the criminal penalties associated with HIV. Lawmakers from both parties say changes are long overdue.
A lot of these aren't being used, number one, and we're trying to undo the stigma that might be attached to somebody with HIV.
We have a lot of other diseases now that are similarly problematic, that we don't have these special enhancements, we don't make them felonies.
Right now, if you live with HIV, you could be charged with a felony if you expose someone else to any body fluid or if you try to donate blood. Those laws date to the 1980s, when doctors and policymakers did not understand the disease and treatments did not exist. Lawmakers have tried to repeal those provisions over the past few years. The legislation never went anywhere.
It has often met a different fate in the Senate, so I hope that with the recommendations from the committee as a whole, that it will find favor in the Senate next session.
McNamara says some criminal penalties would remain in place, such as if you knowingly try to infect someone with HIV. The Center for HIV Law and Policy says 13 states have already repealed similar laws. Lawmakers say the history of HIV holds some harsh lessons.
The people that had HIV were stigmatized and maybe looked down upon. And so I think that's one thing we have to keep in mind with all these new viruses and strange diseases that are seeming to come to America from all over the globe. You know, we have to make sure we don't stigmatize people who have the diseases and that we really focus in on the disease itself.
Now, we should point out no actual legislation has been filed. Any changes to the criminal code still would have to go through the regular legislative process. Lawmakers return to the State House in January. At the State House, Garrett Bergquist, Wish TV, wishtv.com, and follow us on Facebook.